Well, we're already into this, so what's
amen.
going on, Rudy? It's good to have you.
Amen.
You know, today we're just going to kind of just kick back, talk a little bit about life. And one of the easiest stories to begin to talk about is all our fishing stories.
Yeah, no kidding.
How many fishing stories do you think we have?
At least a dozen.
At least?
Funny ones. And then the other ones, Rob, they're funny to you, but they're not to me. Those are accidental things that took place.
Don't make me pass out already. Oh, my God. Do we dare tell that story to anybody?
Somebody will probably get a kick out of it, but that was a horrible day, but a great day of fishing. I don't know if you want to call it stink bait fishing or what, but we were fishing.
You were catching. You weren't. Fishing is the journey to catch.
Yeah.
You were catching. I could honestly say this. There's two men in my life that I have no problem admitting are better fishermen than me.
Yeah.
And one is Pastor Joey. You know, and he always goes fishing. He tells me, I caught 50, I caught 100. And, you know, you find that hard to fathom, but he is that good of a fisherman.
Yeah.
He does catch many, many fish.
Yeah.
And then yourself. I remember the very first time we got our boat, you know, the Orange Ranger.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget this. And I don't know why I let you, because you set me up so cold-blooded. We were fishing, and we located a big mother bass. She was spawning on top. Huh? And I go, Rudy, look. And he go, Rob, don't throw your lure. Don't throw your lure.
You got the wrong lure.
You watch this. And why would I even stop and let you cast right where I located the bass?
You knew I would catch it.
Godly.
You knew it, and I threw my lure, my jig right in there, and that second later, that thing took it, and I caught that fish.
Yeah, you caught a nice...
You got to remember, before I got saved or anything like that, I really wanted to become...
a bass pro.
Yeah, I wanted to really get into the small bass tournaments and work my way up. My wife used to say, man, you could catch a bass out of a mud puddle, and I did. I used to think the same thing. I said, if there's a mud puddle, there's a bass in there, and if there is, I'll catch it.
No, you're definitely gifted. You understand the rigs, you understand the technique, and you definitely are a great fisherman. You know, at least in those days you were.
Yeah, not so much no more, man.
We don't get to fish the way we used to.
Yeah.
But speaking of fishing, I'll never forget this. I don't remember. It's probably all in the same day. You know, we used to drive out when we first got our bass boat. Mm-hmm. It was dead of winter, and we were striper fishing.
Yeah.
And big bass fishing.
Yeah.
And so I remember we just needed to see a glimmer of light.
Yeah.
Glimmer of
a break
no
in
rain.
The clouds.
Yes, and we're off.
Yep.
You know, we got to get back to that place.
I know.
But do you remember the day? Here we are. We're taking off. It's early in the morning. We get there. I do what I do. I back you in. You start the boat, and I'm coming down to the dock. And it's iced over. I didn't fall on it because you backed me up in the boat. Right.
So I never touched the ramp.
And so I come running, and you always tell me, come on, hurry, Rob. The bass are biting. We're going to catch something.
Try to hurry up down the thing.
And all I remember is I have my keys in my hand, and I hit the dock. And the dock is probably like a good 40-degree grade.
Yeah, 45 more. Yeah, it's pretty
45. I hit that thing. And what do you remember?
I remember you falling face forward, and you caught yourself, so you didn't face plant, but you just picked up your hands, and your keys, which I think they were still in your hands, and you just slid down like a little seal. You came all the way down to where it went flat.
And you're like, you okay? And I remember, let's go, and I jumped right in.
Yeah, I think that's the same day you fell in when we were coming out.
I didn't fall in. You helped me in,
bro. You tripped. Gravity, momentum was against you at that moment.
So this is my side of the story. We're fishing. End of the day, we're coming to the dock.
Probably a boatload of fish.
Yeah, we had a great day. And golly, I remember you cut the engine because the current was strong, and I don't know why you would cut the engine, but you cut it, and you thought you were just going to drift right in, and it didn't happen. And so we came in hard. The engine side was coming in hard. And so I had already grabbed the keys because I'm expecting a perfect landing. And I go to the front of the boat, and it's dead of winter. It's probably
that's the same day, I think.
It's probably 40 degrees outside, maybe.
Just a break in the wind and the clouds. We were just coming in.
And you decide to cut the engine. Our boat is sliding in. You're like, we're going to hit. And I remember you putting out your hands, but this time I'm already at the front of the boat, at the bow, and I have the keys in my hand. And when you put your hands out, the boat dips.
Yeah. And
that thing went straight up. And here I am. I'm in my Parker jacket.
Yep.
I'm in everything.
And you jumped in. I don't know why you did that.
Flew up into the air. I must have got 5-6 feet in the air and splash.
Well, I think God knew you needed a fresh baptism that day, bro. In ice cold water on an ice cold day.
I'm telling you, we could talk about story after story. I mean, fishing is a great memory for us, even with Dad.
Yeah.
Remember the day Dad got his first boat? He took us all fishing.
Yeah, we were in Brentwood somewhere.
Yeah, we were, Brentwood, out there fishing in the Delta system, one of our favorite places. And here we are fishing. It's Dad, it's our two brother-in-laws at that time, Eddie and Aunt, and then it's you, me, and Ted.
Ted and my dad,
And Dad. So it's 6 of us in this, how big was that boat?
14 foot.
14.
Yeah, it was small. 35 horsepower. It was an old fiberglass V-bottom boat.
I remember.
The more weight you put in it, the water level would put that boat way down, and the water was just right up to the edge of that boat. And we were out there, 6 Mexicans on a little boat, man.
Fishing.
Didn't know what we were doing. Hanging our feet over the edge. It was a beautiful day. Chugging along on the Delta.
We would never do that today.
Heck no. 2 guys on the boat. That's it today.
Right. Absolutely.
Maybe a little kid, but no 3 men.
Not 6.
Not 6 men in a boat? No way. Not now. I'd be mad. I won't even go.
Right. But I remember that day, Dad had his big pole.
Yeah. That old blue and white deep sea fishing rod.
And here we are fishing for, stripers and catfish, and he's fishing with a deep sea pole.
Yeah. Yeah. And he took it everywhere.
That pole was his pole.
Yeah. So I was going to tell you another story about that pole. And you're not so much involved in this, but me and my brother Ted, I know he's watching. We were fishing on behind the dam at San Luis and at a little canal, and there's a little bridge that went across, and we and Ted were sitting there. We weren't catching nothing. We were hoping to catch catfish, maybe 10 or 12 inches. And my dad had his giant deep sea pole with 50-pound test line on it and a 5-ounce weight on it, and it was cast in. And Ted, he kicked it in. Somehow he jumped over, kicked it in, and it went all the way to the bottom.
Right? Oh, it sank like a lead weight.
Yeah, oh yeah. It was gone. It was dirt. It was muddy water. It was just instantly when it was in there, you couldn't see it. And Ted's like, oh, Rudy, help me get him. Dad's going to be mad and whoop me. Right? And I said, I'm not going in there, Ted. And he's like, I got to go in there. So he took his pants and shirt off, and I grabbed one side of his pants, and he grabbed the other side. So he's got the pants stretched out like this. And my brother's fishing on the bottom with his feet, and he found it. Right? And he said, Rudy, I got to dive down there and grab it. And he grabbed one end, and he dove into the other end, and he got the rod and reel, got up, got dressed, got dried off, and my dad never even knew. He dropped it in the pool, in the water, in the canal.
Well, the story, that's funny. So Ted drowned that pole first, and so now here we are back in this boat in the Delta or San Luis Reservoir, one of the 2 fishing places.
That pole was a pain in the butt.
Yeah, and so Dad went to cast the pole with 6 men in the boat. And the only way you could do that is by rocking and throwing it.
Oh yeah, that's the way Dad did it.
And I remember I happened to have my pole up, and he clipped my pole, and he threw his whole pole in the water. He threw his whole pole, and Rudy, I remember, he was Robert!
Was that the end of his pole?
That was it. It sank right there before our eyes.
Wow. God was trying to get that out of his hands for a while.
And it was, I'll never forget, it was Robert. It was my fault.
Oh, yeah. Did you get whooped?
Yeah, I'm sure I did. Why didn't we? I mean, I think I tell everybody, I grew up in the Gen X generation, and I think we got spanked every day from the age of like 7 or 8 to 12.
Here's one. We were fishing with my dad at Anderson Reservoir in San Jose when we still were there. My dad was asleep on the bank, and of course his big blue and white fishing pole and his 5-ounce weight had swung that thing out there way out. He could whoop that thing and give it some distance, right? And I had my little trout pole or whatever, and he was on a rock taking a nap. You know how Dad would just throw a blanket out and take a nap, and his hat was over his face, and he was out, right? But he always would take a nap with his finger on the string. Remember that?
Yes.
Well, I crossed his line, right? And I pulled on his line, and man, he jumped up, and right when he jumped up, my line came untangled from his line.
He swear he missed me.
I swear he swore he had the biggest bite
of his
life. And he had it until he almost came off. And I'm like, yeah, you had one, Dad. You had one. It got away. It was me the whole time. I never told him it was me. I never told him. He died thinking that day he had a big fish on his pole.
I remember one time, Cousin Paul went fishing with us. And, you know, he was a big prankster.
Yeah.
And Dad was fishing over a ledge, and he's laid out. If Dad wasn't laying down sleeping, he was making a salami sandwich.
Yeah.
And he was getting a bite.
Yeah.
Always. It didn't matter. He's like,
still works today.
Yes.
That technique still works.
Well, do you remember my technique?
Yeah, take a nap.
Take a nap. When I couldn't catch a fish and we're struggling, I'd be like, you tell me, Rob, take a nap. And I'd just lay down in the bottom of the boat, fall asleep, take a nap, and then boom, you get one. I'd wake up, refresh, I'm like, let's go.
Yeah.
And we'd catch.
Yeah. What happened with Paul?
So with Paul, Dad was fishing over a ledge, and Paul has been walking the bank, and he recognizes his Uncle Rudy's line, and I remember he jumped up and grabbed it. Dad's asleep, and he's like, Dad, does what he does, yanks his pole, and Paul's down there laughing, and he thought it was the greatest kick in the world. But Dad, anybody that knew Dad was a prankster. Dad was crazy that way, and so they just paid each other that way. They did silly little things. But I have a couple of crazy memories. Once, it was the time of the drought.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
And you remember we went fishing.
Yep, San Luis Reservoir.
San Luis Reservoir. And I remember I was just a little guy. I couldn't have been more than, 8, 9 years old. And you guys are sinking in the mud, and I'm making fun of you. And, you know, telling you guys are big. Ha, ha, ha. It doesn't happen to me. It doesn't affect me. Being the little brother. And I'll never forget, we went fishing. And we finally got there, and there was this nice overhang. And
you're what happens fishing. When the water drops.
Yeah.
It leaves ledges.
And so we're fishing off a ledge. Mm-hmm. We finally get there. It's like a half-hour walk to get there because the water was so receded. And, of course, we're catching fish. And I'll never forget. I learned very young that you were very good, so I always posted next to you. I was posted next to anyone who caught a fish. I'd move. I would move. If you caught a fish,
like that.
I would. If you caught a fish, I'm fishing next to you. If Ted caught one, I'm fishing next to Ted. If Dad was fishing, I try to stay away from him.
Yeah, no matter what, it would get away, and then he'd get mad.
Yeah, or I'd get in trouble and get a spanking. Yeah, so it's not worth it, you know. So, do you remember this day? I'm sure you do.
Yeah.
Everybody, this is the beginning of how the faux hawk began.
Oh, yeah. This is the faux hawk story.
The faux hawk story. This is where my faux hawk began, literally. And so we are fishing, and you're off the edge. I'm out probably throwing rocks, playing with sticks, chasing things. I'm a 9-year-old terror. You know, I don't know how Dad could find fun.
Probably about 50 pounds.
Yeah.
You're little. You're skinny.
Yeah, I'm a tiny kid, man.
Yeah.
And I remember every time you get a bite, it's still the same, even to this day. Oh, I got a big one. Exactly.
It's a big one.
So you set your hook like you have this monster. I come running, and I don't know what happened. My story is I tripped on a rock. I tripped, and I threw myself off that ledge. How high do you think that ledge was?
5, 6 feet, something like that.
And at the bottom, what was it?
Mud.
Mud.
Hard mud, though.
Yeah.
It was hardening mud.
It was that soil that was sticky. Stinky. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
I remember I fell all the way in, elbow deep, my knees all the way. I'm covered in
stuck.
In this silt.
Yeah.
I'm stuck.
Dude, you got to let me tell this part of the story.
Go for it.
I got bird's eye view from above, and my dad panicked a little bit, right? Because screaming like a girl, Rob. You're like, help, right?
I'm trying to move and I can't get out.
I'm stuck, right?
To me, that ledge was 10, 12 feet.
Yeah, it wasn't that high.
I know, it was, it's 5 maybe.
But you jumped down in there, or you fell down in there, and you were stuck past up to your knees probably, or pretty close to your knees, and your elbows deep, and your hand, you can hear going, right?
Yes.
And God knows, Dad kept telling me, don't go down there. You're gonna sink, right? And because you kept playing around and walking on it, and then all of a sudden, when somebody says you got one, you come running, fall down in there, and you're right, and you start panicking a little bit. You're like, help me, I'm stuck. And Dad comes running, and he hangs over that ledge, and he reaches out his hand, and you reach out your hand like that, and this is what I saw. I saw Dad move your hand. He banged your hand out of the way and grabbed your hair just like that. And he pulled you out by the faux hawk. That was the birth of the prophetic faux hawk in your life, man.
Oh, my God.
I want to hear you talk. I'm going to pull you out by your greña.
Rudy, I could remember the roots of my hair crackling. I do. I can still this day hear the... And I was like, he got me. He drugged me out.
He pulled you out.
Oh my God!
And then he had to clean you up. Remember that?
Yeah.
And so he cut he found an old gallon, cut it in half at the handle, threw a rope into where the water was.
Put some weight on it.
Yeah, and kept pouring it on you. And then your shoe was stuck in the mud. Remember
and he told me leave it.
Oh, you didn't get it?
Yeah,
I don't remember.
It was my fake Adidas. It was there. I still remember them. They were
your P-box?
Fluorescent. They were fluorescent yellow lime color with blue stripes. I remember leaving my shoe there. I'm like, Dad, what about my shoe? He's like, forget about it.
We're done. We're going home.
Oh my God! I mean, Dad, I'm thinking. We haven't even touched but half. I'm Lexington Reservoir.
Lexington, that's the one.
Dad tells me, don't walk by the edge. Walk by the edge, and before I know it, I'm swimming. And he'd tell me, don't panic. Grab my pole. I'll pull you out. I don't know how many times we've had to been rescued.
Do you remember this one, Rob? We were again at San Luis Reservoir, and you're sitting in a corner where this lagoon kind of starts turning, and you're sitting on a rock that was probably this big kind of a flat rock.
Fish there all day.
Fish there all day, and then I started saying, Rob, I think there's a snake under that rock, just to mess with you, just to scare you, because you were like easily scarable back then.
Yeah.
Right? Rob, there's a snake under there. What? You're like, no, there's not. No, there's not. All sarcastic all day. No, there's not. There's a snake under there. I was kidding. I didn't know there was really a snake under there. Finally,
semi-prophetic, even then.
Yeah, it was Jesus. And then finally you said, and then you turned the rock upside down, and that little red and black snake came flying out of there, man. You took off that hill, Rob, like you were a little mini four-wheel drive, screaming.
There's a snake!
I thought that was so funny. I was God. That was so funny.
Dude, we have so many. I mean, that's just a drop in the bucket of some of the stories that we had with Dad, with each other. I mean, I don't know if we should tell anybody about that one day.
That was a one-day event, yeah.
That was a one-day memorable day.
Yeah, that was.
I remember.
It's a whole story to it all.
It all started, we were going fishing.
Yes.
And I remember pulling up to your house. Yeah. Pulled up to your house, and I said, hey, I have to go to the bathroom. And you're like, oh, I locked the door.
Yeah. Gosh.
Hold it. So we go to the...
Oh, okay, I can hold it.
Yeah, so I'll go when we put gas. Get excited, putting in the ice, the thought of fishing.
Yeah.
I forget to go.
I know.
Then I was like, oh, man, Rudy, I forgot to go.
There's a restroom right when we get to the launch ramp, Rob. We'll go there.
So I get to the launch ramp.
Forget again.
No, what happens is we're seeing the fish jump, the sun's coming up, and the thought of the bathroom.
The last thing on your mind.
And so I do what I did. I run, drop you down, you start the boat, and you're like, hurry up, Rob. I ran right past the toilet, didn't go.
Yeah.
We get on the boat, we drive halfway across the lake to one of our secret spots, and we finally get there, and you already caught a couple, and I'm like, Rudy, I gotta go to the bathroom. And I remember you telling me, Rob, you're killing me.
Just hold it.
Hold it. And I go, okay. And we were going to go to the floating potties, and we didn't even go.
I know. And it wasn't even that far. It was just 5-minute, 10-minute boat ride.
But it was the thought of leaving fish.
Yeah, we weren't going to do that.
And then suddenly it went south.
Yeah. Then
Not for me.
Yeah, then the tide turned.
You kept...
It went from day to dark all of a sudden. It went from no pressure on me to all pressure on me. The burden left you and fell on me. You transferred the anointing that day.
I guess, man.
And I went into panic mode. I'm like, oh, Rob, I gotta go to the bathroom.
And I gotta go bad.
And those not the words I was using because it hit me suddenly. I was in sudden panic mode that I had to go, and I had to go now. Right?
And I remember what you asked me. Hey, do you have toilet paper on the boat? And we had stopped at the store, and all I had bought, remember, is because the allergy season, I had allergy medicine, and they gave me just a little slip. I go, I have this.
I have a little paper bag. My hand didn't even fit in that. I was looking for a sock or something. But that paper bag's all I had.
Oh, man.
I don't know if I want to say anymore, Rob, but hey, okay. It just went from bad to worse right there.
Yeah.
All I know is, Rob, you should take me to the bank right now. I got to go. Give me the little handbag because that's what I'm going to use.
So do you remember afterwards we discovered what happened? What did you take the night before?
Well, I took some of that dieter's tea. And I had forgot.
And for those of you that don't know what dieter's tea does, it's like a laxative to the intestines.
It's a mild laxative that hits you all at one time.
And suddenly the fountain was flowing.
Yeah, I had a breakthrough. I was on the verge of a huge
breakout. Yeah. And so here we go. I'll never forget this. This is my side of the story.
Tell it, man. You could tell it like no other because you had the bird's eye view of that thing.
Yeah. So we look up and we see this little grassy knoll. And you're like, get me there. And so I pull up. You go to jump off the boat. And the minute you jump, you start screaming, oh, no.
It's too late. Just that sudden movement caused a breakthrough and a release, and it was on.
Yeah. And you try and climb up this hill to get to this little grassy knoll at the top, and it's all like gravelly.
Yeah, I was sliding. Every step I took, I'd slide back down.
Yeah, so you weren't gaining ground, you're losing ground. Panic mode is full on.
I got 3 feet above the water line, probably 4 feet, 5 feet the most.
I remember you telling me, Rob, don't pass out.
Yeah, because I look back and you're like this. Just like that. You're just like that right there. And you're about to lose. I thought, oh my God, he's going to fall in.
Yeah. And the whole thing is,
again,
well, if I'd have fallen in,
you would have woke up again.
Yeah. But I think also I have a history with you of passing out from laughter.
Yeah. Yeah. I've killed you a few times. I had to resurrect you. One time I even had the opportunity to slap me. Wow, wake up.
Like, what happened? It went dark. I remember that. Oh, God.
That's happened like 3 times. You passed out laughing at something I've done or said.
Yeah.
And one time I got blessed and I got to slap you. And you woke up going, what happened?
It went dark. I might do it today, man. Oh, sweet Jesus. Here we are. You're climbing up this hill, losing ground. Panic is setting in.
And I had to pull my pants out.
So law of gravity says you don't face the water, you face away because of the hill.
Yes.
But panic is set in.
It's too late. I was already going.
You drop trow.
Yep.
And there it is.
It's all over me.
All over your jeans.
I pooped right in my pants. I put my pants down and pooped right in them at my ankles. It was a mess, Rob. And then the worst thing is
you lost balance.
Yes, and I put my hand down and I put it right in it, and then the gag started. The gag reflection.
And this is when I'm passing out, and you're like, Rob. You're like, Rob. Don't pass. Oh, Oh, sweet.
That was
Jesus.
a mess. That was a mess that day.
It was.
It was a literal mess. So I had to take my pants off and my underwear off.
Yes.
Remember?
Yes.
Kind of used everything I could to clean up.
The
which
water
wasn't very good.
No. Oh.
And then I remember,
It was.
I got my underwear in a ball and I threw them. And there was one stick sticking up on the side of the heel.
Yeah.
And when I threw them, it went and caught the top of this stick, was about this high off the heel, out of the ground. And
It
my
became the
underwear were
banner.
hanging there. And we're like, oh my God, that is the spot.
That is the banner.
That was
the raising of a standard.
Yeah, it sure was. Or the lowering of one.
Yeah. Oh my God. And so you clean yourself off as best as you can.
And it isn't in there that day.
No, because we ended up fishing, and that day you were lights out.
Yeah.
I think you caught like 25 fish
if not
to like
more.
my 2 or 3.
Yeah, if not more. I think that's why I said, man, I don't know if that was, the bait I was using or the stink bait I became that day.
Had to be that.
Yeah, and then when we got home, right, I went into the shower and I showered and got all cleaned up, and I took my pants and I threw them in the laundry room in our house. And a few minutes later, my wife walks in and she's like, What's that smell? And I'm like, I don't know. Because my son had lived with us. Somebody was living with us that had a baby at that time.
Yeah,
like, they left
it was Letitia.
They left a dirty diaper somewhere in the house. Somebody left a diaper, and my wife is on the search. She's looking under the cabinet in the garbage can. She goes into the restroom, looks in the garbage can. It stinks. There's a diaper around here.
Little does she know.
She goes out into the washroom, and she's like, it's in here somewhere. And Rob, this is what's so nasty. She picked up I don't know why I didn't throw them in the dryer washer. I just threw them in the hamper, the dirty clothes. My wife picked up my dirty pants that I had earlier crapped in, all over in, and she put her hand and goes, oh, Junior!
Rudy!
Junior! What the hell happened? And I looked at her, I said, nothing. Everything's okay. Did you shaka in your pants? And I'm like, Rob, it was, yeah, that was one fishing trip.
Oh my God. That's the clean version.
That's the clean version.
Oh my God. Yeah. Fishing.
We were blessed to be able to go fishing with Dad, man. And in his hard times, he took us fishing. And as sons,
that was
we always
all
had
of our escapes.
Yeah.
Even today, I still love to fish. I love it when we go out with Captain John, our dear friend, and we just go. It was so great this last year. Our brother Ted was estranged from us for 16 years.
Yeah. He's going to go with us soon.
Yeah, well, he went with us with John, and that was the first time he had went fishing with us in like 16, well, probably more like 20-some years.
He went with us? I'm not remembering that.
Yeah, you remember? We Lord help you. Yeah, we took him fishing with John, and we went and caught our halibut.
Okay.
So
we went out of San Francisco Bay with him.
Yes. So that was our first time. That was like March of last year.
Oh, yeah, now I remember taking pictures of it. Yes.
So March of last year, he came back in February, and he was saying, I want to go fishing. And so we bought him a license, and we all came together, and we went.
Dude, I got a fishing story for you too, Ted. When your dad took us as young boys out there to Monterey Bay, and it was windy and choppy, and the thing was going up and down like this. And Ted always talking smack. I think I get sick. You're going to get sick. And that day, my dad took some of the kids from the neighborhood. And one of them was a friend named Aaron. And he had long hair past his shoulders. The white guy, that's the way they wore their hair back then.
Yep.
And
he was a rocker.
He was a rocker dude. And Ted is sitting on the bench on the side of this boat, and you could tell he's already green, turning yellow, and he's about to blow chunks, man. And it's windy. And I remember, I'm like, I'm not standing over there. And I went on the other side of Ted, and about a minute later, all I hear is, like that from the bench. And man, when I look, you can see all his crackers and 7-Up in the air. right? And man, this kid was 5 feet downwind from him. Not even 5 feet, 2 feet. Right next door to him, like close as me and you, right? And that throw up, puke, whatever, just went covered the side of his whole head. And I'm like, oh. You know, because it always causes a chain reaction.
Oh, man.
If I'm going to, are you okay?
Yeah, I'm laughing too much. I'm laughing too much.
You know, that started a chain reaction. I'm like right after Ted then. Horrible, man. But that was fun. We look back and now, man, I wish we could be back there, Rob. You know, we had a pretty decent childhood. Our dad, you know, after he got delivered from his mess, he really took good care of us and spent time with us.
Yeah.
Taught us something good that, you know, I've been able to share with my grandson, little Rudy, and take him fishing on the boat. And he just loved, my favorite fishing partner is, sorry, it's not you anymore.
Yeah, of course.
It's my grandson. And, you know, we'll go fishing again one day, me and little Rudy.
Yeah.
But the last time we went, he was like, Grandpa, it got hot out there on the Delta, right? He's like, I want to go swimming. And I go, go ahead. So he just took off his pants and his shirt and got down his chonies, and he dove right in the water, man, and
no
swam
hesitation.
around. And he says, you got a rope, Grandpa? And I said, yeah. He goes, pull me, right? So I had like a 25-foot rope for the dock, tied it onto the back ankle through the boat, anchor, and got him behind the boat and took off. And he's like, go faster. He puts one hand, go faster. All of a sudden, I see behind him a little white spot come up. And I go, Rudy, your chonies came up. You see? Because he's a dark little kid.
Yeah.
Right? I was like, shit, I said, your chonies came up. He goes, stop, Grandpa. He was skinny skiing.
Yeah, he was a little guy.
Yeah, that was so fun, man. I'll never forget that. He was like, do it again. Do it again. See, you're not going to get this fat guy to do something crazy like this. See, that generation likes the experience. Let's drag me. Let's go.
So we're talking about all these great memories.
Yeah.
When did it all start changing?
Well, when we're talking about, it was already changed.
Yeah.
It had already changed in my life. I grew up, you know, very experimental. And somewhere at about the time I was about 12 years old, I think, Rob, maybe 11, there was a kid, a little teenager, a little older, probably 18 or 19, that lived down the street from us. His name was Chopper. Remember Chopper?
I do remember Chopper.
He was older. He was like my sister's age.
Yeah.
And one day he came and we were hanging out in front of Mr. Green's house across the street.
Yeah.
You remember we called him Mr. Green Jeans?
Yep.
But it was Mr. Green, and he had a pack of cigarettes. And he said, you want one? And I looked at him like, I'm right across the street from my dad's house. If he sees me, I'm going to get whooped. Right? And he said, well, let's walk in front of my house. So we walked down his house, maybe with 8 houses down, across the street from the Barrett's house over there, next door to Penny Bright's house. Remember all that?
Yep.
And we went up in his driveway, and his mom and dad were on vacation. We went up by his front door, and he gave me a cigarette, some kind of Virginia cigarette back then. And I tried a cigarette for the first time in my life, and probably around 12 years old. And, of course, I choked and coughed. But it put some kind of crazy thought in me that I can get away with this. And I went home after smelling like a cigarette, because it left a nasty taste in my mouth. But I went home going, I want to do it again. I want to do it again. And I think that experience there caused me to want to do things, experiment with things that were risky. And it opened a door in my life. Just that. I know that is where the door opened in my life. Thought about this for many years, where the drug addiction started. I opened it up smoking a cigarette, and the feeling of I got away with it and I want to do it again came on me. And I started to smoke cigarettes a little bit, but I didn't get into it because I really didn't like the way it tasted, but it opened the door to other things. And so it wasn't much longer that I was offered my first marijuana. And of course, because I knew I could get away with it, or at least I thought I was, that door got opened in my life. And so...
And you're how old? 12, 13?
13 years old. 13, started to experiment with marijuana. It was somewhere between 12 and a half and 13 years. Not real bad, because I knew mom and dad I always had to go home, you know?
Right.
And so kind of stayed like that for a little while. And then there's some other people moved in across the street to us. They were very risky and very radical. And he turned me on to methamphetamine probably about, Rob, I'm going to say about 18. Okay. And I stinking liked it. And that opened a whole nother door in my life. Mm. And that's the one that took me down the road that I never thought I would go on in my life. I remember the thrill of snorting a line. Yeah, it was crazy. I was probably about 17 when it first started. Met my wife on the day I turned 18, but I had not become addicted. I had experimented with it, right? But by the time I was 20, 3 or 4, it went from an experimental drug to a casual using drug to where I was functioning and using to now I became addicted. It took about a 5-year journey before I became addicted.
Yeah. And I remember just along on that journey, I'm 6 years younger than you. Mm-hmm. And so if you're 18, I'm 12. Mm-hmm. I remember one time, I think you were 18 when Dad gave you his 56 Ford.
16.
16?
Yeah. The day I got, let me tell you the story. The day I got my birthday, the day I turned 16, my cousin Mondo came down and he gave me my first tattoo. Right there in my dad's house. I couldn't believe he let me do it. But that day, I got a tattoo and got keys to the truck. That's what was crazy. That was a Saturday. That 16th birthday happened to be on a Saturday. And my dad let me take off that night in his truck at the promise I would be back by 11 o'clock. Well, 4 o'clock in the morning came and I came in staggering. I think my dad was like, oh, what did I just do now?
Holy macro.
But I'm going to tell you, I think the addiction started at a place where I OD'd in my life. And it wasn't even with methamphetamine, because there was a drug when we were kids. It was called PCP. We called it KJ or Leño, whatever you want. I don't know all that terminology anymore.
I think I remember this day.
And my brother Ted would know. Matter of fact, me and him were just talking about it. And
his friend Ernest was spending the night.
Yes. And Ted was like, Rudy, don't smoke that. Another friend of mine, Mr. Duran, came. I don't want to say first names. Mr. Duran came.
I know who he was. He was Boo Boo.
No. His name was Duran, but he came with Boo Boo.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So they both came. Yes, they both came.
I remember Boo Boo because he had this.
We had crazy nicknames.
Yeah, but he had a cool car. It was all decked out. Yeah. He had a little Volkswagen Bug.
Yeah, absolutely.
Fixed up to the hilt.
He brought a friend who said, hey, you want to buy one? And I happened to have $10 because I worked at the spaghetti factory, right? At 16, I had my first job, my car, all that was going on. I bought one from him, which was a PCP or KJ joint. And, of course, I showed Ted, and Ted's like, Rudy, don't smoke that. Whatever you do, don't smoke that because you're going to get crazy. And I said, He goes, just take a couple puffs. And then, of course, I came in, I smoked almost all of it. I came in after smoking almost all of it. And that day, I don't know what happened.
That night?
I know what I did. I remember what I did, but I don't know what happened as far as the realm of darkness entering my young life that took the next 10 or 12 years to get it out of my life.
You know, it's crazy. I remember that night because that's the night I get scared straight.
Yeah.
I mean,
sorry, Rob.
Yeah. I mean, I can honestly say I remember making a vow to Mom that day after this scenario, and we'll get into a little bit more, but I remember saying, I will never do drugs. Yeah. And I had drugs put before me. I had opportunity after opportunity presented. Yeah. And I was like, no. Yeah. You know, but that night was Dad's, I want to say like his 25th.
He was getting an award.
Award for like 25 years of safe driving for BFI at that time. Yeah. He was, our dad was a professional garbage
They were
man.
going out to dinner.
Yeah. And mom forgot the tickets. So they went to some of the places that were in the years past and it wasn't there. They didn't have cell phones.
Right.
And then because they didn't have cell phones, they had to pull over and use a telephone. But dad didn't know any of his buddies' numbers because it's all written on the phone book, which is at home. So they ended up just grabbing a burger or something. Came home.
To a mess.
Yeah. Well, they went to bed.
Okay.
So they're in bed.
That's right.
They went to bed when your friend Duran came and you purchased, this joint from him. I remember, I believe Debbie was over because you had been fighting a cold.
No, you weren't. No, she wasn't over yet.
No.
It was before I knew her.
Okay.
I was probably 16.
16?
Yeah. It was early in my life.
I thought you were older. I thought you were more like 18. But it's you. So I remember this. It was the sun was going down. It was getting dark. Ted's friend, Ernest, decides to stay the night, gets permission. Mom and dad end up going to bed early, and probably 9 o'clock, maybe a little earlier, this when chaos begins to take place.
Ernest used to make me mad because he had stinky feet.
Right.
I just call him Stinky Feet Ernest. Anyways, that's probably why I chased him out of the house. I got high. I came into the room, and Ted's like, chill out, Rudy. You're high, right? And for some reason, I looked at Ernest, and I wanted to beat him up.
Yep.
And so he took off running out my mom and dad's front door, closed the door right in front of me, and I punched a little glass thing, cut my arm open, right? And that's the part I do remember, standing there bleeding. Dad gets on the phone, gets up out of bed, gets on the phone.
I called him.
Okay. You called Dad, he gets out of his room and out of his sleep, gets on the phone, calls Uncle Tony. Uncle Tony comes over to the house and they have me there standing there, and I'm still buzzing from this joint, and they start casting the devil out of me. I remember that because I kept on saying, the devil got in me. The devil got in me. I don't know if he really did, but at that drug makes you feel like that.
Wow.
Like some entity entered your life. You're out of your mind. You're not in your right mind. It's not like any other kind of high. This is elevated to a place where you are seeing things, hearing things. You're not yourself.
Yeah, you probably feel things.
Yeah.
Becomes a dark world real quick.
Yeah. That day I opened a door to the demonic realm in my life. I know I did. I mean, I opened it when I smoked a cigarette. That day, something took place around me that I can't explain. And that wasn't the last time I smoked it. I never did it very much longer, but it opened the door to my... like the door opened when I smoked a cigarette, and then when I walked through the door doing that drug that day, and right after that, by the time I'm 18, 19, I am becoming a social addict at that time. I held down a job, Rob. I took care of my family, but I had an addiction, okay? At the age 25, I'll go there. At the age 25, I bought my first house. I had my boat, I had my truck, and I had a Harley Davidson. I'm not kidding. I remember standing in my garage going, I did it. And I was giving myself all this credit. I felt like I had arrived, and there's no way I could lose any of this. And I'm working at a company called Quantum, and I worked there for like 10 years. And started out just as a warehouse guy, and I ended up being a warehouse lead. I had got promoted. I was about to become a warehouse supervisor, but I had also built this social addict type lifestyle. It was I would say I was a weekend warrior. I wouldn't do it all week, but when Friday, Saturday, and Sunday came, I was up all weekend on this stuff, and it slowly began to wear my life down. Somewhere in this 10 years, a man approached me and he said, "Hey, man, you want to make some money?" And of course, my mind is, I'm a money. I want to go after some money. And he says, "Well, if you can get some of those hard drives, I got a guy who can buy them. We'll buy them cash." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." And I didn't think much about it. And a couple months later, he came back. He said, "You want to do this deal?" And I said, "Okay." And so I put a couple of them in my. I had such liberty that I could walk around with the product and nobody would think anything. I put a couple of them in my car, and then I took them to him. And he a couple of days later, I had a few $100 for him. And I'm like, wow,
It's easy.
I got it. And then I recognized a way to do it because there was unaccounted for material, stuff that would come back, right? It was unaccounted for. And there was nothing wrong with them. They were brand new product. So I would just stick a label on it and ship it to his place. And 2 days later, I would get cash. So money became a big drive as part of a big vehicle to take my addiction to another level. Now I can afford to pay my house, and I can afford to live a drug addict kind of lifestyle, which, to be honest with you, not a lot of people knew unless you knew me.
Right. It's crazy because you and I are working together at this time. You got me my first job working over at Quantum. And
I remember now, yes.
You know, we used to play wiffle ball, baseball with a guy named Rodney, who was the FedEx driver.
Yeah.
He was an ex-ball player.
For the Spartans.
Yeah.
For San Jose State.
Yep. And so we would come, and I don't know why, but we would be ball of tape.
Tape balls. Yeah.
Rudy, we played a lot of sports with tape balls.
Yeah.
Tape ball football.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Tape ball, sock ball.
Yep.
Taped up socks. Remember that?
Yep. We used to play that football, and who was that?
Heck out of you.
Remember? Oh my God! I was Sam Bam Cunningham.
Yeah.
And you and Ted with pillows, and I put on my
little
helmet, and
the little bar that came across.
Yes, and you guys would smash me with pillows and flip me around.
We used to make you cry, and you wouldn't quit.
Goodness gracious! Some of the games we
would
played.
Hit you hard. I don't know how you lived without really breaking your neck or something.
We played hard. We were boys.
Yeah.
And I always wanted to do what my brothers who were, 6 and you're 6 years older than me, 7 years older than me. Ted's 5. So 5 and 7 years older,
We were way bigger than you too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Man, we used to remember the dunking stuff we used to do in
the pool. It's probably why I'm a great swimmer.
Probably, and that's probably why you can hold your breath a long time now.
Absolutely.
You were in training, Rob. You didn't know it.
Do you remember King of the Tube?
King of the Tube.
King of the Deck.
Yep.
And then, of course, there was...
The ultimate game was how many times we can dunk you before you...
shifting gears.
Ah.
That's what you used to do. All by my hair.
Yeah, full hawk. That was pretty full hawk.
Today, that would be abuse. Then it was considered fun. Yeah, I'm telling you.
All I know is I used to get you and go... And then when you're gasping, I would just get you and shove you down and hold you. And then you start fighting, but then when the panic I could feel in your back, like, let me up. Then I would let you up, and then you catch your breath for a few minutes, then we do it again. Do you remember diving from the top of the fence?
I do. What the heck were we thinking?
I don't know.
That fence was a normal 8-foot fence, and then Dad had those extended visors
like
on
3
it.
or 4 foot extension. So we're probably sitting 11 feet up, 11, 12 feet up.
And jumping into a doughboy pool.
4 feet. And we thought we were having a time. I would never even think about doing that now.
Yeah. I don't know how Mom and Dad let us. They probably were working. They weren't even home.
They never saw us.
Golly.
Just thank God we're still alive, man.
No one's paralyzed.
Fell back into somebody else's backyard, fell flat on the deck.
Yeah, there's times where I barely cleared it.
Oh, yeah, man.
We were dumb.
I don't know what we were thinking. We weren't thinking.
No.
We weren't thinking.
Just doing.
Yeah.
So going back, we have all these interactions. So you're functioning. Mm-hmm. I probably recognize you have some issues, but you're my brother, and I look past it, or I'm really unaware of it because I'm uneducated. Mm-hmm.
We kept you. I'd never let you come near me. I don't know if you knew this, but I'd always send you away from us. Get out of here, Rob. Go home.
Yeah.
Like, I want to hang out with you guys and play football with you guys. Most of the time, I make you go home.
Yeah.
Not because I was already on drugs, because I knew people already were crazier than me. And didn't want you to hang out with them. So I kind of kept you going home. Go home, go home, go home. You kept coming, kept trying to hang out with us. And finally, you started playing football with us and having a good time with us. But moving back towards what I was talking to, because I was now in the process of my salvation, and I had no idea. I had no idea, Rob. After I got involved with this crooked scheme of selling illegal product, one of the guys, the guy I was selling to, put it in the newspaper that he had product for sale, right? And he got caught. The police caught him, and he turned me in. He told them where he got them from. So they set up a sting to catch me, though I never did it anymore, because when they caught him, he never asked for no more, right? So they were watching me for months, and so I wasn't doing it no more. But I had thousands of dollars in my house from all the other ones, right? And one day I go to work, and I had methamphetamine in my little pocket, right? And the undercover cops come into the company, and they say, "Can we talk to you?" And they say, "Yeah." And they say, "You're under arrest." And I'm like, "Why?" They said, "Because we know you've been stealing product from here." And so they take me to go through this whole thing, and they take me. Rob, I have a gram of methamphetamine in my little pocket. This is crazy, because I go through the whole process of getting booked into jail, and I have it on me, and they didn't search me. And I know I have it on me, right? I got all the way up into my cell room after changing, because they put you in a little room and you change into jail clothes and all that. I reached in, pulled it out, put it in my palm, and walked all the way to my jail cell that night with a gram of methamphetamine. That night, I did that whole thing up there.
Jeez.
So now I'm in jail for, I think, like 3 or 4 days, and before they let me out on OR. Okay, they didn't keep me very long, and I had the longest 3 or 4 days of my life that day. I think it was only 3 days, but it was long, and I was spun out, tweaked out. But it began to be the beginning of the end for me. I now had lost my job. There's no money. These guys that I was involved with selling these things to, they weren't going to help me. They were on their way to jail. So now we're all uncovered. And all hell was breaking loose in my life.
As a matter of fact, even Dad's house got raided.
My dad's house got raided. They had the Milpitas police, the San Jose police, the Ceres police, and the Modesto police, because they thought I was this big ringleader. It was just a handful of product that I had really sold him, and he got caught. They thought I was going to have this warehouse full of company product, and I think they said even a helicopter was circling over the raid of my house. And my wife had to go through the whole ordeal. I feel bad for that, but she got searched, and the whole house got searched. And soon after that, I'm standing with nothing, and my addiction got worse. Right? Now I'm struggling. I get a little job there in Modesto. I'm struggling, man. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going to happen. And now I am addicted to methamphetamine, because I was a social weekend warrior, kind of an addict, functioning, and now I'm my life is very dysfunctional. I've never been in this place where I didn't know what to do with myself. Trying to pick up any odd job that I can find just to keep some money going on in the house. My dad gets a lawyer to help me, and we go through the process. I get sentenced to six months in a work furlough program, which was light, and the case got sealed and got dismissed after my plea guilty they would seal it, and then it would come off of my record after like 5 years. So it's not on my record no more. Thank you, Jesus.
Right.
That was the deal if I would plead guilty. And my lawyer said, that's a deal, man. You don't want this on there. So we go through this whole thing, Rob. I go to jail. I even did methamphetamine in jail. And I would have a pee test, right? And I was like, oh my God, it's my pee test. What am I going to do? So I got this little plastic jar, right? This is crazy. This is the way we thought. And I asked the guy who was clean, I said, will you pee in here for me? He said, for what? And I go, so I can go take a pee test and I'll pee and you're clean. All right. So he peed in a little container. I put it in my pocket. And when they watch you pee, I just pull it out, went in a little pee cup, gave it to the guy. He took it in and I never got caught.
Jeez.
But I should have. It was just God's grace on my life. I don't know, but that's the way I thought how to get away with everything I was involved in. And so another year goes by, man, I'm miserable. I have to rent my house out. And I believe I went to stay with my dad. I'm not sure where I went with my family for about 6 or 8 months. And then I got on my feet a little bit and I got back in my house and it fell apart again. I got even more drug addicted. Now it's not with people in business or work people who are social users. Now I'm in the community doing drugs with drug dealers and drug addicts. It put my life in a place that I never want to go back to. I can remember walking into homes where people were dealing drugs and they are filthy darkness and mess. I wasn't used to that, right? But that's where my life was headed. I was headed down a deep, dark alley. And about that time is when my sister Ernestine got radically saved, Rob.
Yep.
And it wasn't long after that she learned how to pray and prophesy. And I thank God for her because I won't cry, but if it wasn't for her getting saved and being bold, I don't know if anybody had the guts to talk to me about the gospel because I was so shut off to it. Though we grew up around Christians and believers our whole life, I didn't want it. I didn't want it. That's all. I didn't really resist it. I was just shut off to it, just clicked off. Just not my thing.
Yeah, you had gone to church many times.
Yeah, we grew up in
you
church.
talk about one of the times where Dad said he took you to church.
Yeah, I remember sitting in the back of a charismatic Catholic renewal service, and my dad was going to preach. And he said, come with me. I'm going to preach. And I'm like, okay. I was probably 16, 17. It was before I met my wife at 18, that's for sure. And I'm sat in the back in Sinner's Row, all the way pinned up against the wall. And my dad gets up there and he starts introducing himself. And he's like, and I have my son Rudy with me. Right? And I'm like, oh, no. Oh, no. And he goes, I need everybody to pray for him. Please pray for my son. And he said it. And he said it.
Unashamed.
Unashamed. He goes, I love my son, but he's a drug addict. He's already involved in drugs. And I want God to deliver him. And I'm like, Dad, you did not say that. I didn't even get offended. I don't know why, because I knew he loved me. Yeah. I knew he wanted what was best for me. And everybody looked back at me and like, that little guy's a drug addict. Praise the Lord, everybody. Pray for me, pray for me. I didn't say that. I was thinking about running, but I sat there. And he did that to me. He called me on the carpet that day in a Catholic charismatic church.
So Ernestine, very similar to Dad, was very bold.
Yeah. So she started to pray for me. One time she came to my house unbeknownst. I had no idea she was coming, which was cool. She used to have this little black Firebird. And I remember one day I heard it come up. She pulled, hey, brother, what's up, man? Come on in. I was addicted, past the social addict and into my addiction. And she said, she hung out for the day, man. We had lunch or whatever. And then she said, I'm going to head home. And she goes, do you mind if I pray for you before I go home? I'm like, yeah, okay. I let her pray for me, man. An hour later, I'm laying on the floor full of snot. She had me flush all my drugs down the toilet. right? Right? I had no idea I was her assignment.
Yeah, you didn't even know what an assignment
she was
is?
like a pit bull on a pork chop. That boy's going to get saved, right? And she leaves that day, and of course, that wasn't enough for me. I would go and get more. So she did this, I think, twice. And one day she calls me. She says, Rudy, I'm going to come see you. And I said, oh, shoot. I know I've been through this twice, okay? And she says, I'll be there. I'm going to leave right now. So it takes 2 hours from San Jose to Ceres, right? I'll be there. So I timed it. That was like 10 o'clock. So at 12 o'clock in the afternoon, I jumped in my truck. My wife was somewhere, and I took off. I was gone till like 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I came home. This is how sneaky I was. I circled my neighborhood to make sure she wasn't waiting for me around the block or something. That's the way I thought at that time, right? I go home. I hide my truck in the garage just in case. I'm not home 10 minutes, and I hear that little firework. I'm like, oh, man, is that her?
What'd you do?
Yeah. And I look out there, and I'm like, oh, it is her. And then I can remember as I could hear her feet walking up. And I had this heavy plexiglass safety door, screen door, right? And it's locked. And she comes up to the door, and she's knock, knock. Hi, Rudy. And I'm like, hey, I'm sitting there watching TV. I pay her no attention. Like, Rudy, you gonna let me in? And I said, I'll let you in, Tina, but don't talk to me about Jesus.
Devil.
She looks at me, she goes, okay, brother. Right? So she doesn't say anything about Jesus for the next hour. She goes, well, just like that, well, I better go home.
In your mind, it's a win.
Bye. Right? And she goes, before I go home, can I pray for you? Because God told me you're back on drugs. At that time, when she said that, I'm like, who, what? What do you mean God told you I'm back on drugs? Because she thought the last 2 times I had gave up, right? It didn't happen that way. So now she comes and she says, can I pray for you? And then I said, yeah. And she goes, well, God told me you're back on drugs. I'm like, little do you know, I never really quit. And I thought to myself, this guy's snitching me out. What the heck?
Just trying to live my life.
I don't cause nobody trouble. I got in trouble. I'm past the trouble. Now I'm, just trying to get through all the trouble and cause no trouble. And now God's snitching on me? That's what I really thought. Who is this guy that he's telling Tina that I'm doing this? She's right. She's not missing it, right? And so that day, Rob, she prays for me. And again, I fall on the floor. I cry. Everything. And I throw my little bag of methamphetamine, and she flushed it right in front. I can remember that thing was gone, right? Well, she left, and of course, the same cycle started again. I went to somebody else. I got some more because I had an addiction. She just didn't understand my addiction. She loved me enough, but she didn't understand the thinking of an addict is it's not done. Because my body's going to tell me,
I want this.
You better do this.
You need this.
You need this. You can't go without this. So another week goes by. She goes, I'm coming over your house. And I'm like, oh, hell. Okay. She comes over, and she's got this box in her hand, a little bigger than a shoebox. That's all I can remember. And she said, God told me to come over here and get all your drugs out of your house. I'm like, what? Are you kidding me? You can't just do that. I'll be in trouble. I don't know what we got to do, but I got to take everything that has to do with drugs out of your house. This time I'm starting to want it, Rob. I am the last time she came and this time she came to my house, I am now starting to want to be free. I remember going down what was Wesley Road and way down at the other end by Highway 5, there's some canals. Driving down there, and I was on my way to work somewhere, and I pulled over and I started to smoke methamphetamine, and I remember crying, going, God, I don't know if I'll ever be able to quit this. I don't know. I want to. I'm just talking to myself, or maybe I was talking to God. I don't know. It's like I want to quit, but I don't think I'll be able to because the withdrawal and the addiction is so strong. And I remember I cried and I cried there and I cried on the road. And so there was a desire now after 7 years of being on this stuff, off and on, and the last 5 pretty much on. It was starting, I wanted to get out of this lifestyle. It had took everything. It had, you know how Naomi said, I went out full and I came back empty?
Yeah.
I felt like I had a day that I was full, and now I was just an empty man, just with nothing to look forward to.
And you're about how old now?
27 or so.
So yeah, from 16, you're 11, 12 years into this journey.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's running its course.
And about 5 years addicted to where it's every day. And now I'm pretty much being tormented by it. And Tina comes to my house. She's got this box. She said, God said, we're going to empty your house out of all drugs and paraphernalia. I had 11 ounces of methamphetamine in my house, which is a lot. I knew a dealer. I knew a guy who was making it there in Modesto. I said, Tina, I can't just do that. I got to take this back. But I don't know what made me take it back. To this day, I don't know if it was because I was sick of it, but something made me say, I'm going to listen to you this time, Tina. Right? And I remember I put it in a bag, all 11 ounces, and I went back to this guy's house. His name was Ray. And I said, Ray, I'm done with this. And here's the meth that I owe you. I don't have the money, but here, it's all there. I never touched it yet. And he did all what he had to do. He counted it, weighed it out. He said, Rudy, we're even. You don't owe me nothing. He said, but I'm telling you, man, if you're saying you're quitting, you're quitting. I'm letting you off. Don't come back to me looking for it when you're withdrawing, because I won't give it to you. He was serious. I said, okay. So I went back home, and man, the battle began, Rob. This is the beginning of the end, if you will. The love that Tina had for me in the garage was starting to really take effect. She said, now we need to take all your paraphernalia and all the drugs. I had a hole in my garage, and I had some marijuana in there, right? Threw that in their box. I had scales up on shelves hidden. You can't see them. You know, they're hidden through my scales, all my glass pipes, all my straws, all my razors, all my roach clips, all my rolling papers, everything was starting to go in there. And I remember she said, well, is there any in the house? And I go, oh, maybe my wife has some. I went to my wife, said, you have anything? She goes, no. And I said, okay. And I said, that's it. And Tina said, well, okay. She started to close the box. She said, let's pray. I'm like, okay. And she starts praying, Father. And then she goes, no, Rudy, there's more stuff here. God keeps telling me. And I'm going, what? Who is this guy God doing, man? What are you talking about? I don't hear nothing. Right? I don't hear nothing. What do you mean God's telling you that there's still stuff? So I had this big glass pipe up there that I thought, well, I had just filled it up with meth. When she leaves, that'll be what I use. So there's still more. So I reached back there and I threw it in the box. And she said, let's pray. And I began to pray. And I said, that's it, Tina. She goes, no, there's more stuff. More stuff. And I knew I had a couple little baggies in my house, right? So I went in my room, in my sock, in my drawer, and I pulled out a little couple small bags of methamphetamine that I was going to sell people, right? And I put them in the box, and she goes, okay, let's pray. And then I said, I swear to you, that's it. And she started praying, and she said, there's more, Rudy. God keeps telling me there's more. He wants me to clean the house out. I can't leave until there's all gone. And at this time, I don't know if it was the fear of God, but something hit me and went,
I can't
this is it. This is it. At this point, if I give up what I have left, there ain't nothing left in my house. It's done. And I'm standing there, I'm deciding.
Do I want this?
Do I give it all now? I don't know if it was God or if it was just my desire to get out of it. But I reached into my little pocket right here. I had it right there, my little jean pocket, you know, the little coin pocket in Levi's. And I pulled a rock of methamphetamine out, and I threw it in there. And I knew when I threw it in there, I knew when I threw that thing in her, that was it. There was no more in my house. No more paraphernalia. No more drugs.
No more, I'm going to get it later, find it here.
Nope.
Jesus.
It was over, right? And she prayed and she said, that's it. I'm going home. And she took off a box, maybe like this big, bigger than a shoebox, full of stuff. And I don't know what she did with it. She never told me. I don't care. She just probably found a drumster dude in there. I don't know. So now I'm an addict and I got nothing. I can't go to my dealer because he cut me off. So I go to somebody else and I start wasting $20 and $40 and it wasn't the same kind of stuff. And I was mad, right? And I was frustrated. And then my truck broke. Okay. It blew a head gasket. Now the next day I'm in my garage, just trying to survive doing dope, enough dope to keep the withdrawals away. I don't have money to buy what I used to buy. My dad shows up in the garage, right? And he goes, what's going on, Rudy? And I said, I can't get this stupid truck fixed. I don't know what's going on with this thing. I had blew in a head gasket, right? I just didn't figure it out yet. And he says, well, maybe I can, help you out. And I go, I don't need your damn help, man. I just need everybody to leave me alone, right? And I had a screwdriver in my hand that I was using to work with, and I just threw it on the floor in disgust. And he said, why are you so angry? I said, I don't know, but I'm just so tired of this. You know what he did right in front of my face? He did this. He lifted up his hands. And he goes, praise the Lord Jesus Christ. You're about to get saved. I looked at, and then he walked out.
Oh, Jesus.
That was like on a Wednesday.
That's crazy.
That was like on a Wednesday, Rob. Tina had come like on a Saturday. My truck had been broken for those few days. And then that Friday, my son Rudy comes to me. And my wife is pretty quiet during this time. She's not saying anything. She had her own addictions. Of course, not as bad as mine at that time. But my son comes to me that Friday and he says, Dad, my friends are going to a play at a church over here in Modesto today. Take me. I want to go see it. They say there's this play. I'm like, I ain't going to church. You kidding me? I kept saying, no, I don't want to go. Nah, I don't want to go. All day long that Friday. It was in the summertime. They must have been off for spring break or something. I don't know.
Summer break.
Summer break. And I know what day it was. It was March 31st, 1996, that day.
It was spring break.
Yeah, that he began to bug me to take him to this play, right? And finally, after 4 or 5 times that day, Dad, I want to go. Dad, I want to go. My son, Rudy. And I finally said, okay, I'll take you. He goes, all right, we're going to go. We're going to go, right? And then he calls Grandpa, my dad. Grandpa, my dad said he's going to take me to the play, the church over there. And my dad says to Rudy, tell your dad that I'm going to pick him up and we'll all go in my van. See, you know what that means. Most people don't know what that means. When you come from my family, a Mexican family, when Dad says, I'm going to pick you up and we're all going in my van, I'm stuck going now.
Yeah, no
He's
backing
gonna
out.
Come. I can't get out.
He ain't going to let you break your son's heart.
I'm not going to. That or that's just the way it was.
Yeah.
When he said, I'm coming to pick you up, we knew, oh, man, now I'm stuck going. My dad's going.
It was like when Dad would say, Saturday, we're cleaning the whole house.
Yeah, it was going to get clean no matter what. Don't take off. Don't go nowhere.
Don't plan. And if your friends come over, they're an extra hand.
Yeah.
None of my friends want to spend the night at my house.
No, we didn't have that at our house.
Heck no.
They did. They got chased out by me all freaked out on PCP.
Or they had to get up and clean the Saturday morning.
So he's on his way to pick us up at 5 o'clock. The play starts at like 6 or whatever on a Friday night. And I go get a little bag of meth and I smoke it so I won't withdraw during this church services, because I know church services from my kidhood. I mean, 3 or 4 hours long, if not all day.
That's how you felt.
Yeah. And I go to church pretty spun out. My wife ends up going with us. And Rob, you got to imagine, this night at Heaven's Gates and Hell's Flame in Modesto, they called it the Modesto Miracle because thousands were getting saved. This place is packed. It holds probably like 3,000 people. It is packed. People are standing in the aisles for this play. And me and my wife, somewhere we sit down in the middle of the pew, and Ruben, who was on the wheelchair, was sitting at the end of the pew, and Rudy was sitting next to my wife, and my mind is getting tormented. This play is about to start. I don't want to be here. I'm tweaking. Me and my wife, we start arguing a little bit, right? She's, I'm not going to sit with you. I'm going to go upstairs because they had a balcony, right? And her and little Rudy go up there, and they sit down up there and watch the play.
You're sitting there by yourself.
I'm sitting there, Rob, with the space for 2 or 3 people on this side and the space for 2 or 3 people on this side. And it's packed. It is sold out, if you will. People standing in the aisles, and nobody sat next to me. My mind is going, oh, they can tell. They know I'm on drugs and nobody wants to sit next to me, right? My mind is just going through hell right there. I wanted to get out of this place and run, but it was like I was stuck there. The aisle was 20 feet that way and the aisle was 20 feet that way. I was stuck in the middle and nobody's on the side of me. The place is packed. So this play starts, Rob. And the first skit in the play was me. It was a nice guy dealing drugs, helping people with other drug addictions. That's the way I felt. I didn't see myself as a drug addict. I saw myself as somebody who did drugs, knew I had a little problem, but I wasn't a full-blown drug addict in my mind, right? And I was helping people who were like me, right? And then this play is, at the end of the skit, the devil shows up and takes that man to hell, right? And I'm like, oh, nice. Okay. I never thought about going to hell in my life. Never. Hell never had crossed my mind until that day.
Jesus.
Right? And so this play goes on, and I'm frustrated. At the end of this play, Pastor Glenn Berteau does an altar call. And he basically does a real simple one. If any one of these, like 10 skits they did in that 2 hours play, any one of these skits you saw your life in, God's calling you to come out of that lifestyle, right? And at that point, the intensity in my mind went to another level. And all I could think is get up and get out of here. But when I tried to leave, I'm not kidding, and I tried a few times, I was just like, I can't get up. Look down there, I can't get in front of all these people, they're going to know. I look that way, can't walk in front of all these people, they're going to know. So I sat there, right? And he gives another call and says, man, if that's you, don't waste your time, get up. And I'm like, I want to change. I need change. But that voice on the inside of me was, you're never going to change. And then I just told myself, I'm going to count to 3. And I'm going to get up and I'm going to go down there. I really want to change. Right? And I said 1, 2, and 3, and pushed myself up off that pew and stood up, caught my balance, and walked down to the edge of the aisle. And at that very moment, when I got to the end of the aisle that I was walking towards to go down to the altar, my wife and my son were walking at the same time. And I met him at the beginning of the altar where Reuben was sitting. Of course, Reuben was already saved, because he was hanging out with grandma and grandpa, and they brought him to church and gave his life to Jesus.
Yep.
Right? And so us 3 went down there together. And of course, it would take a little while longer for it to grab a hold of my wife. But that night, I had a radical conversion, man.
Yep.
And most people, listen, for those, I hope this helps somebody, because, Rob, when he said a prayer over us, nobody prayed for me. Nobody prophesied over me. Nobody came up and laid hands on me.
Yep.
I just said the prayer.
To yourself.
Yeah, I said it out loud. I said after him, Jesus, come into my life, whatever that was. And I didn't feel the presence of God. I didn't feel nothing, Rob. Zero, nada, right? And we started walking back to our chairs after a few minutes of being up there. And he said, everybody stop, I got to say this. Somebody in here is going to go home and you're going to sleep good tonight. And that's going to be a sign from God that everything's going to be all right. And I remember going back to my chair going, well, if I fall asleep tonight, because I was already spun, if I fall asleep tonight, that will be a miracle. Because I had already done enough before getting there to stay up all night. And sure enough, when we got home, we went to bed, and I had a little glass pipe in my sock, right? And
So right there, I don't think most people understand why you would even do that.
yeah, that's so that I wouldn't lose it or misplace it. That my wife wouldn't find it, because she didn't know I was smoking it. She thought I was just snorting it for most of that time. She probably did know I was smoking. Never said nothing. She was in her own world of addiction. But I put it in my sock so I wouldn't lose it. That was my surety that it would be with me, right? And I would always get up and go to the bathroom the next morning and take a hit, so it's not withdrawal. So that night I go home and I go to bed, and sure enough, I fall asleep and I wake up in the morning, and I know that pipe and that meth is in my sock, right? And I go to the kitchen, 7 o'clock in the morning. I go to the kitchen, serve myself a big old bowl of cornflakes. Then we have the big Jethro bowls, and I start eating it. And I'm eating this thing, and something hit me, man. And I realized I slept last night. Then the second realization is I didn't get up and hit the pipe. What happened? In that moment, at that very moment of that realization that I slept and I didn't hit the pipe, I heard a voice. I heard a voice for the very first time that I never heard before, the voice of the Father. And he said these words, Rob, and they still ring powerfully in my life today. He said, Rudy, today you are free if you want to be free. And I started crying over a bowl of cornflakes. At that moment, my wife walks by. She's got a hamper full of dirty clothes. She's going to the washroom. And she goes, what's wrong with you? And I was like, I don't know. I don't know how to explain what I'm going through. But from that moment, I knew I had the strength, and I could believe that I could withstand the withdrawals that were going to come against my body and not go back. I give God praise for that, because that was my day of encounter, not the day I confessed Jesus, but the day I heard his voice. And I knew my life was radically changed after that.
People don't understand this simple truth. One word from God is enough to change everything.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I tell people, Rob, believe it or not, that word still carries weight today. Yep. Because when things want to bring bondage into my life, I remember that word. Today you're free if you want to be free. So there's nothing that could put me in bondage, because I have to want to allow it to put me in bondage. I have a word of being free over my life.
Yes, sir.
That will carry me from the day, the night, the morning after I got born again to the day I die. I have one word that's enough to carry me to that place. If I don't want to be in bondage, I don't have to be in bondage, because I have a word over my life. I don't know if that rings out to anybody listening, man, but if you ever get a word that God says you're free from it, it means for the lifetime.
100%.
I have a sure word of prophecy from God.
My goodness.
You know, and it still carries weight today when I feel like I'm in bondage or something. Oh, man, God spoke to me when I was born again. Today you are free if you want to be free. And that's my life's journey, is to stay free from the bondages of this world and the bondages of the enemy.
You know, this is your salvation story, but it's not the end of hardship. You know, people come to this misconception, I get saved, everything's going to be peaches and cream. It's going to be cherry on top. It's going to be easy.
Yeah.
As you've progressed in your journey, you get saved. We as a family go through some really difficult times.
Yeah.
You know, personally, I go through some hellish times. We lost Dad. You know, Dad at a very young age, 74. You know, the Lord took him. I remember a conversation we had when we knew it was getting close with Dad. I don't know if you remember, we were at the In Shape gym, and we're all serving God. We know we all have calls now as ministers, and we're diving in.
Yeah.
you know, and as we're diving in, Dad writes you a check and he tells you,
Oh yeah, Rob, this is a crazy story, Rob. Yeah, well, when we opened at that time Sound Life Ministries,
yep,
Dad was ministering at a little Mexican church there in Ceres, and the Lord spoke to him and said, "Go to your son's church and help him." And he did. He started commuting from Ceres to Merced, him and Mom. And when he got sick, I was at his house, and I think it was just me and him. I don't think you were there.
no,
And he said, "Rudy, come here." And he was writing a check. And he said, "I don't know if I'm going to ever be back in church because I'm pretty sick now. And but I'm going to write you my last tithe." He was sick, Rob. His hand was shaky and weak. 100 pounds, bald-headed, sitting in a chair, still taking care of his fatherly business, saying, "I'm going to write my tithe." He wrote a check for like $180 or something like that, handed it to me, and he goes, "I know this is my last tithe, son." And I just cried with him.
yeah. My last memory of Pops at church was he called to you and you thought he wanted the mic, and then he told you, "Get me a chair."
Uh-huh.
And we got him a folding chair, and we thought he wanted to sit down and maybe say something, but the last memory of him in church was he grabbed the back of the chair
and started dancing.
And worshiping.
Yeah, and I was standing behind him.
Yep.
Up the ramp a little bit from the altar, and I remember, I can still see it right now, the back of his head.
Yep.
Holding onto the chair or the pew, and then one hand in the air, jumping for Jesus like that, giving God praise. You know, he was definitely someone to look at. No matter what he went through, he just gave God praise. Dying, I think he died 3 weeks after that.
Yeah.
Shortly after that, he passed away.
I remember we were laying in bed, he, myself, and Mom. Not sure if you were in the house, but I don't know if you were in the room at this moment. Mom's like, "The doctors are telling us he's going to go." And so they're like, "You need to tell him it's okay. You guys are going to be fine." And I remember Mom saying, "Rudy, we have all the boys are here. The girls are here.
Yeah.
You're going to be okay. It's okay to let go." Mm-hmm. And Dad hadn't done a whole lot. And I remember him sitting up, and he looked at her and goes, "Woman, do you want me to die?"
Better stop counting me out.
And he told her, "You want me to die?" He says, "You need to pray in faith right now." Laid back down. And I was like, oh my God.
Well, I remember his sister came, the emperor, to see him. And he's pretty sick within his last week already. And she said, "Rudy, I just want you to know you're in my thoughts." He looked at her and said, "What good does it do to be in your thoughts?" He said, "Sister, I need your prayers, not your thoughts." And she's like, "Oh, I'm sorry." She's not a believer.
Right.
But man, he was just
order,
man. Just, I don't need you to think about me. I need you to pray for me. Look at me.
Yeah.
Like, look at me. I'm dying. Pray for me. Yeah. He's a man of prayer, man.
No, absolutely. And so I remember you and I, we're at In Shape, and we know it's coming. You know, we're all praying in faith. And I remember you said to me, "Rob, what has God shown you?" And I go, "What do you mean?" And you're all about Dad. And I said, "Well, I'm praying in faith." You go, "I want to know about what you're praying about, because I know we're praying the same thing." And you literally said to me, "Tell me, what has God shown you? What did God tell you?" And I remember looking at you saying, "Dad will die October 31st. And we will bury him November 4th. Mm-hmm. And he'll be a seed planted into the earth." Mm-hmm. But he will
I remember that. I thought it was crazy.
That's exactly
how it happened.
How it happened.
Yeah.
You know, we were all gathered 5:05 a.m. He breathed
And then Rob, he has this amazing funeral.
Yes.
Remember that?
Yep.
Somehow we got our friend Bishop James Logan
And Joey Zamora.
and Joey Zamora to come down and do the service. And
Dad loved them both.
but yeah. And they did a wonderful service. And then we are all gathered as a family at the casket just before they closed it. It was a cold day.
Yeah. Overcast.
And no sun shining. You know, that place we had, it had windows all the way around the top, around the whole thing. I was in there recently and I was remembering, I was like, wow. But the light didn't come in from all those windows. It came in from one window.
Yeah.
We're sitting there, we're honoring him, and we're getting ready to close the casket. And all of a sudden, a light shined right on our family standing by the casket of my father. And I remember, you can hear everybody go, what is that?
Yep. It was a glory, man.
Man.
You remember Mom took off dancing.
Did she? I don't remember that.
Yeah, she started praising God, lifting up her hands, and telling everyone, it's going to be okay, it's going to be okay.
Wow. I don't remember that.
Oh, my God. I'll never forget that moment. I'll never forget that moment.
Well, when we had that encounter with Reuben when he passed.
Yeah.
That was another miraculous encounter.
Yeah, most people encounter, death. Some people have encountered, habit and addiction. Mm-hmm. But you went through a thing in 2013, which was never in the cards for a parent.
Yeah. Let me tell you a little bit about that, Rob, because
I'm sure nobody knows how dark it was for you.
Yeah, there's dark secrets there that only me and my wife know. Probably you don't even know.
Sure.
They're kind of scary, but at the same time, they brought me to who I am today.
Yeah.
And I remember we were believing in when Reuben first got sick, Pastor Joey gave him a prophetic word.
Yeah.
That he was going to live, right? And that he was going to win and live and win, right? A couple weeks later, we're in SFU, in the San Francisco hospital, the big one over there.
Yeah, San Francisco University.
Yeah, and the doctor calls me and my wife, and no, I was in a men's conference over there in Southern Cal. I was with Rev, and I get a phone call, and it's Reuben. He said, "Dad, you need to come. You need to come. I need to talk to you immediately." They said I have cancer. So I jumped in the car, shot from LA straight over there, right? And when I get there, the doctors want to talk to us. And they had already told Rube that you have cancer. And now they considered him terminally ill because he had developed a antibody to the antibiotics. He had become allergic to the antibiotics that were working on the infection. Now in the infection, there was some cancer. Okay? So it went from a bad situation to worse. Yeah. But I remember I'm thinking, I got a word. I'm going to hold on to this thing. And to be honest with you, it even made me mad at Joey when Reuben died. In my dark hour, I was like, man, the Lord lied to me. Until I realized that Reuben really won.
Right.
Until it was a big win in his life because he was suffering.
Yeah.
Right? But we get there, and you'll remember this part. The doctor said he's grown an immunity to the antibiotics. There's nothing more we can do. We've been treating him for months now, and he's going to pass away. And Reuben looked at me and said, "What are we going to do, Dad?" And I said, "We're going to pray. I'm going to go home. I'm going to get your Bible. I'm going to get our little CD player. I'm going to play constant praise and worship music in here." This is going to make me cry, Rob.
Yeah.
He said, "Dad, stop. Don't do that. I know where I'm going." He said, don't go get anything. Don't get my Bible. Just be my dad.
Yep.
You're not pastor no more. I don't want you to pastor me no more. You've been my pastor.
Yep.
But right now, you just need to be my dad, Dad. Sit here with me.
Yeah.
Said, oh, jeez. And from that point, I was like, okay, I have to. If he came to terms with, he's going to heaven.
Yeah.
I'm still believing, but I have to come to terms with what he just accepted.
Yeah.
He was bad to the bone. He was a tough kid. Now I know why God created him to be so resilient and so strong in the inner man.
He was a defier. If I had to pick one word, Reuben was defiant. He defied every odds.
Every odds.
He should have died at birth.
Yep.
I mean, he was born with spina bifida.
Had 33 surgeries in his life.
Yep. He only weighed, 3 pounds?
No, that was Rudy. He weighed 7.
Oh, he weighed 7.
He was full term.
Okay.
He went into surgery the next day after he was born to close the hole in his back.
Yep.
They put a shunt in his brain. He had 3 of those throughout his life. He had a hole in his belly to where he could go to the restroom.
Yeah.
They fixed him up, and he lived. He was an overcomer, man. He didn't let what he did. I remember this, Rob. One day we had an evangelist come to our church, and he called everybody up when we were on 2nd and R and for a healing line. That's the way he did it back then. And after the service, he comes to Reuben and says, how come you didn't come up for me to pray for you to be healed? He goes, sometimes I go up and sometimes I don't. If I feel it, I go up. I didn't feel it today. And he goes, and the preacher said to him, you can't accomplish what God calls you to do on this earth until you're healed. Oh, he should have never said that to Reuben. Reuben had the mindset, I'm
healed.
He got home and he called me out and he said, Dad, get over here. I want to talk to you. I'm like, what, Reuben? This is when we lived on Thurman over there, right?
Yep.
He said, Dad, come here. I want to talk to you. Don't ever, this is Reuben's words, not mine. Don't ever bring that jackass preacher to our church again. Like, why? Because this is what he told me, that I can't accomplish what God called me to do unless I get healed. I don't believe that. I can't believe he said that. I'm mad at him. Don't ever bring that guy over here again. I said, okay, I won't, man. Calm down, Rube. And I said, this is what you do, man. Go in your room and you pray. You ask God if that's true.
Yep.
And he came back the next morning. Dad, I prayed, man, and God spoke to me. And he said this. He said, the condition of that body that God allowed me to have is sufficient for me to find my destiny and fulfill my purpose in.
Reuben was a unique young man.
Yeah.
He was bold.
Bold, powerful.
Never said bye.
Never said bye. Remember how many times he got lunch from you, Rob?
Oh my God, that guy knew. He
knew. Whenever Uncle Bob came over, he'd come rolling out of that room in his wheelchair. When we going for lunch?
And I'm like, you're not going. He's like, if you're taking my dad, you're taking me.
How many times did he buy you lunch?
Not once.
Wow.
Not once. The one time he tells me, the one time he says, I'm buying lunch today, I think we went to Thai food, and it so happens that somebody bought our lunch. Somebody that knew us, paid it for us, and I was almost disappointed. Because I wanted Reuben to pay. And Reuben's like, praise the Lord. See, God never wanted me to pay with you, Uncle Bob.
He never bought you a lunch.
Never.
You must have bought him 100.
Oh, at least. But that was our love relationship. He was good. We have so many great memories of him.
Yeah. So after we got the notice from the doctors. I don't know if you remember, my wife called you. We were sitting at the end of the hallway to the office, to the hospital, looking out a glass window that had a chair there in San Francisco, just a skyline view. And my wife's like, I can't believe this is happening, Rudy. I can't believe this is happening to us. He was supposed to live and not die, right? We've been praying and we're believing, man. And she goes, where's Rob? Remember that she called you? I don't even remember exactly what she told you, but she told you, where's your God now, Rob? My son's going to die. You remember that?
Vaguely.
She called you on the carpet. She was so mad. She was so
mad at everybody. She was hurting.
Yeah. We were. Our world was being turned upside down, and we were being emptied out.
Yeah.
Everything that we knew about faith wasn't working, but it was working.
Yeah.
We just couldn't figure it out and couldn't see it. And so after about a week after that ultimate news that hit our lives and changed it, Ruben said, I want to go home. Yep. I was like, no, why don't you just stay here? And, and everything. No, I want to go home, man. Send me home. If I'm going to die, send me home. I'll go there. Right. And so they set it up, man. And our living room back then turned into a hospital room. Right. My wife began to clean his wound every day. And he started to dwindle, started losing a lot of weight. In that time, I had great intimate conversations about life with him. He would get that anxious legs, and he'd start twitching his legs all over the place. And Dad, rub my legs, and we'd get some pain relief medicine and just rub it on his thighs and his legs. And he said, I feel so good, man. And he would ask me, Dad, what's going to happen? He'd say, are you guys going to do me a funeral? These are the things I never said. Dad, I want everybody to come to my funeral. Make sure everybody comes. They better come. I'm going to be pissed off if they don't come. Right? And I didn't know how to respond other than, okay. And there were some heavy conversations about life, about his brother who was in prison at that time. It was like, Dad, I never got to love my brother the way I wanted to because he was always in trouble. I don't really know him the way I should know him. And this happened for the next 6 weeks off and on. We'd have some of these heavy conversations. And one day he sat up and because his bed had that electric sit up, he sat himself up and he looked at me. He was already skinny and he just looked at me and he said, I'm ready for it to happen, but what's really going to happen? I looked at him. I said, Ruben, I don't know what's really going to happen. I can't answer that. All I know is God's in control at this point because I can't help. You can't do anything about what's about to take place. And he said, I don't want to die. I don't want to die. Dad, I don't want to die. I was falling apart inside, just trying to hold myself together.
Yeah.
And I became very vulnerable. I'm going to be very vulnerable because that thing, right after he passed, we had this great moment at his death, Rob.
Yep.
When at 4:05, August the 9th, 2012, he took his last breath. And at that moment, it was 105 degrees outside. All the windows were closed in the house. You and Juanita and a few of the other people from the church were there. And Michelle comes and she screams, she yells, I think he's going, because the rattling of his throat, and then he hadn't breathed for a few seconds. And we all came over there and he passed. And as soon as we said, I think he's gone, my wife screams, she says, Ruben, come back. I'll keep taking care of you. That thing, when she said that, set something else off in me. The desperation for my wife is like, oh my God, now what am I going to do? Right? Instantly, we realized there is a rainbow sitting right above his bed. I looked up and clear as day, there's a rainbow right above his bed. My dad had a light, Ruben had a rainbow to show us. And a couple of days later, I was like, God, I don't care about no rainbow. I wanted my son. And the Lord spoke to me, he said, Rudy, that was for you. That is my promise that I'm not trying to destroy you, but I'm bringing you into a better place of your life. Okay, but I still don't care about a rainbow.
Right.
I wanted my son. So we have this great funeral, Rob, everything goes on. Then another really dark season hits my life.
Yeah. So it's positive and negative because in the midst of that, you lose your son, and your whole building gets paid off.
Yeah. Yeah, that's, through all the loss, all the pain, somebody walks up and hands us a $1.2 million check and says, pay your building off. I don't want my pastor to be in debt to the property. We're like, what in the world just happened? But I I don't know if you want to hear about this part. But,
yeah.
But in the midst of the celebration and the breakthrough, my life went into a
dark place.
Dark place. And I'm in ministry for 15 years at that point. Hadn't drank alcohol. And at that point, man, I picked up the bottle.
Yeah.
And I started to drink. I got around people in church that couldn't help me or were drinking with me. It went on for about 2 years, a year and a half, to a place where I was now even afraid of what I was doing to myself. But I couldn't stop because of the pain and the loss.
Yeah.
I was in a dark, dark place, man, and nobody could help me. I remember sitting in the back by our pool when we had that swing there. And I was still mad, still very vulnerable, asking a lot of questions, the whys and the why nots and the how did we get here? How did this just happen under my nose? Because I felt like the devil burned me for my son, but it was the purpose of God and not just an attack from the enemy. And I remember praying and saying, God, just kill me. I can't live like this. Kill me. And I remember thinking, man, I just need a gun right now. If I had a gun, I don't know if I would have used it or not, but I sure put it to thought and wrestled with that thought.
Yeah.
If I had one, would I use it? I'm so in a dark place and nobody sees it. I'm living a secret second kind of life because I'm preaching under the power of the anointing. God's doing great things. But when I would go home, I was in another world.
Yeah. You're under the anointing. You had the grace to do it.
Yeah.
When you got home, you came out of that grace, and moment by moment, you had to learn to fight to live.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely, man. And the worst part is nobody really knew nobody knew the pain that was causing me to do it. They were just partying with me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They were just, Pastor has a couple of drinks here and there. They never knew that it was because of this inward pain that I was trying to feel.
Yeah.
It took about, it took a little family intervention.
Yep.
That I denied that I even had an issue. But at that point, I said, man, if my family came over here to talk to me about it, then I'm a back out of this now. And so then it stopped at that point in my life.
Yeah, I remember it was Kathy, Ernestine, and myself, we all saw the hurt, and we recognized the pain, and we saw the dark secret.
Yeah.
You did your best to hide it all, but it was visible to those who loved you and those who knew you. Most people don't know you and I are extremely close.
Yeah.
We talk every day. And it doesn't matter if I'm in China, I'll soon be in Australia, but there'll always be the phone call because that's who we are, And I knew deep down that you were hurting, and there was nothing that I could do by myself.
Yeah.
And so we talked with Ernestine and Kathy, and we put it all together and said, we got to come as a family and just sit down.
Yeah. And believe it or not, that was the other turning point for me to walk away from that place of pain.
Yeah.
And that's when I really started to desire to be healed from the loss of my son.
Yeah.
It turned our lives upside down. It was no joke. That's why when it started, the healing, his passing affected me first worse. My wife was able to package it up, put it in her back pocket, and leave it there. And then the time that I started to get healed, like that package was taken out of her back pocket, opened up, and sat right before her. Now she was struggling with the loss of her son. And it took like 2 years for her to begin to deal with it. And I'm starting to close it up and get healed. I thank God that my wife is resilient because she wanted to get healed after that fast. And so one time we're up there with Pastor Pat McDonald up there in
I remember Miwok City,
Miwok Village, and it was about 2.5 years after Ruben had passed. My wife's starting to struggle with it a little bit. I'm getting to the place where I'm being healed from it, and we were in praise and worship, and my wife was just worshiping, and she was looking out the window towards the roof. They have a window on one of their little sanctuaries. I knew she was encountering God in a way. I could discern it. And I said, I'm not going to just going to leave her there. And she stayed there for what seemed like 10 minutes. Later, she told me, man, Rudy, Ruben's voice came to me. And it was snowing that night. I believe it was snowing that night. And I said, what did he say? And the voice of our son came in, and she said, Mom, I'm okay. You can do what you got to do now. That moment, Rob, that encounter, it began to turn our marriage back to a healthy marriage. We go that next day. We go in the hotel room. We start talking about. Nobody knows. She tells me this, right? But I could see that she was encountering the Lord. She tells me later in the hotel room, this is what I saw. And the next morning, we're having breakfast with 3 other sets of pastors, right? 6 other people, 8 people on this table. This is the miracle of God, Rob, and how wonderful he is. We're now sitting with 8 people on a table breakfast. These other 3 sets of pastors have all lost a child. I don't even remember how it came up. I think one of them asked, because ours was the most recent, asked us, how are you guys doing with it? And they said, we never said nothing, but we lost a child too. And the other couple says, we just recently lost a child. And the other couple says, us too. And we're like, and we just begin to talk about the experiences. Man, I feel the presence of God in this place. We just begin to talk about the experiences and the pain and the suffering we all went through, that how God had pulled her out. And then she began to talk about what she encountered last night. And man, the power of healing just sat at that table. And first time in our lives, since Ruben died 2.5 years later, that we realized we're not the only ones who were in this world of pain.
Right. Because
you feel so stinking alone. And the body of Christ is not really equipped to help us.
Yeah. We
need grief counseling in our churches.
No, absolutely. I think when you lose someone and you've never lost someone like a child, it's hard to be empathetic because the person goes, well, you don't even understand.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's their bitterness of their heart. And, I know many times we would hang out and we would just sit. You and I, we would just sit. We didn't talk much during that season. It was not that we weren't talking. It was just there wasn't words that could minister to your heart that I had because I hadn't had experience.
Right. Yeah.
And so to witness or to minister to someone that's in that realm of sorrow, it's hard.
Yeah.
And I thought the greatest thing I could do is just sit there and be with you.
Yeah.
And that's what we did.
Yeah.
We went fishing, we fished, but we didn't talk. Yeah. And if we talked, we just talked about light things.
Yeah.
We didn't even try and revelate in that time or share the scripture, though the word always did come up. It was just a season where it was just hard.
Yeah. That was the darkest hour of my life. And at the same time, it produced one of the greatest breakthroughs I've ever seen.
Yeah.
That's just amazing. It's just amazing the way God works like that.
Yeah. Well, I could say we have, in 25 years of ministry together.
Yeah.
I'm 28 years into this journey, and I'm blown away at the life encounters we've had.
Yeah.
People think, oh, you're Christian, everything's perfect. I have no idea of the hardships, the struggles, the disappointments, the chaoses, the confusion, but the healing that we still needed.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I thank God we're in a healthy place.
Yeah, yeah.
God is moving in the For Life Center. He's moving in our ministry as well as yours. We're still partnered together through the good, the bad, the ugly. You know, we have seen the mercies of God.
Yeah. They're new every morning.
Man.
So true. So true. I think our marriage, since the time we got healed, has become an example of healing to the body of Christ. We're inseparable.
Yeah.
You know, she can finish my sentence. She knows what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
That's for reals. She's so close to us, to me now, and I to her. I know what it really means is the two have become one flesh.
Yeah.
It really is powerful. But it does take not just, I love you, I marry you. Yes, I do. It's more than the I do's.
Yeah.
Because it's solidified through the dark things that life throws at you. The things that you can't tell everybody that bring us really close together.
Yeah, we were in a service, I don't remember when, but we were talking about relationship. And you made this comment, and I 100% agree with it. You said, I love my wife now more than when I first fell in love with her. You know, if you were to ask me what I love about her now, it's different than what I love then.
Yeah, it kind of goes like this. I don't know why I love my wife no more. And people say, why? And because I lost the conditions. I can't say I love her because she can cook. I can't say I love her because she could take good care of me. I can't say I love her because of that. I don't know why I love her. I've chosen to let my will love her.
Yeah.
It's my will to love her. I've made that choice. My will is to love my wife till death do us part. I don't have a reason to love her no more.
Yeah.
And if people can get that, you remove all the conditions on your life.
Yeah.
I am called to love her.
That's it.
I don't know why. And I can't say because she does this good, does that good, don't do this good. It's just an act of my will.
I love because he loves.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know,
it's an act of his will to love us.
The word says, owe no man nothing.
Except to love him.
But the love of God.
Amen.
And that's what you found.
Yeah.
There's no reason other than because I must.
Yeah. We could probably write a book on marriage and love. Just out of the hell we've been through. You know?
And the world needs it.
It's crazy because at one time when we were young, at 3 or 4 years into the marriage, her mom told her, leave him, I'll take care of you. No, I don't want to leave him. Guess what? Guess who was her mom's best friend on her dying bed?
You. Remember all the years? I know
She loved
this.
me so much.
Yeah. My God. Remember the years where your kids would be like, Dad, what'd you get from Grandma? Because they'd like to tease you.
Nana would always send them checks for their birthdays, holidays, or whatever, Christmas. And Rudy would get $100, Ruben would get $100, and Deb would get $100. I get 25. Praise God, Nana loves me. But I'll tell you what, in her last days, which were just recent, her love for me just exploded.
Yeah.
She really expressed her love for me. When we spent that last year, a few months with her, man, she would tell me, I love you, Rudy. Amen.
Turn it around.
Turn it around, man. She was
from a knuckleheaded young man, boy, to a full-grown man.
Yeah.
She saw the whole journey.
Yeah, I was telling my wife, one day I want to say this to her sister-in-law. You know, Nana loved me more than you.
Oh.
Yeah, love is a journey, man.
Love is a journey. Well, Rudy, I just want to say thanks for coming,
Thank you, man,
sharing your story.
Yeah.
I really believe, you know, from where we started to where we ended, we covered a lot.
Yeah.
You know,
Journey.
our dad's stories, our journeys, you know, the crazy
Family.
things.
Nothing like family, Rob.
No. Well, I love you, man. Thank you so much for sharing your story.
You're welcome. God bless you, man.
All right.